Hello, YouTube viewers, and welcome back to Game 3 here now of this 3-set series here with, I guess it's not MYM anymore, it's MTW Demuslim. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get the game started. It's fairly late where Demuslim is, so we'll make this one fairly short. So if you want to go ahead and I'll do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, start. And yeah, faster settings, so it's at 3 seconds now. Hopefully it's not
Yeah.
too much difference this time. We did lose a little bit of sync last game, but anyways, this is Shicky StarCraft bringing you this on behalf of GLHF.it once again. Go ahead and check out my YouTube channel and subscribe, please. I get a warm, fuzzy feeling every time you do. Anyways, we've got Zax, which of course is Demuslim here, as the purple Terran spawning at the 12 o'clock position, and his opponent is going to be Panda, and this is actually Max Ed here on the Asian server. He's a Chinese player from Warcraft 3 as well, he did play human, as I should say, as well. So yellow Protoss spawning here at the 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock position. So what are your thoughts here on Metalopolis as a map in general, and then as a map for TvP?
As a map in general, I think it's pretty interesting. It's one of the cooler maps out of the new beta ones. It's a large map. It's pretty huge. But, depending on positions, like the positions I've got now, it's close, but it actually takes a long time to get to the other guy's base unless you're using air. You can have, or basically, 3 different positions that you can have to your opponent makes such a huge change in gameplay. Depending on what strat you're going to go. I mean, if you're close, then you go for a close game. You can't play like risky expansions or whatever. Whereas if you're cross map, you can have a really long macro game. In matchups like this, or when we're close, airplay I think always can play a big role. So I immediately think if I scout him here, he's going to be going Void Rays or Warp Prism drops. So it's a pretty good map. It's got a lot of variety. Against Protoss, this patch is when the 5 Warp Gate, I believe, was really strong, which I believe a lot of people saw me playing Protoss, so yeah, I knew how strong the strategy was, and I was very wary of it, but luckily in none of the games he played that, so yeah.
It looks like he's going to try to steal a gas. Does that scare you when players steal your gas, or is that just a kind of a meh strategy for them?
It depends what I'm going for. Luckily, I was working on a strategy that counters his. As I said in the same game, I look at a lot of replays. I like to study my opponent. While I didn't find that many Maxed games, I saw a lot of other Asian Protoss games, and what I realized was none of them actually make High Templars, which that's pretty huge. I mean,
Yeah.
at this patch, everybody on Europe was either going 5-gate rush, and I mean everybody was doing that, or they were going High Templar tech. So when I saw comments that were saying, "Oh, these Terrans these Terrans from Korea are like killing every Protoss on Asia because it's imbalanced," and then I looked at the games, and none of the Protosses are doing a 5-gate rush or using High Templars. I'm like, well, there's a reason that the Terrans are doing so well over there.
Yeah.
So I used that to my advantage. I just said, okay, I'm gonna go bio because if you're not gonna make stuff that counters bio, then I'm just gonna go bio. So that's how this game went.
Do you think the playstyles are a really, really big, or there's a really, really big difference between the servers then?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think that will change, or do you think it's always going to be that way?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's too hard to say.
Oh, fair enough.
USA, they seem to kind of pick up, or they don't follow the general trends. If something's doing well on Europe or Asia, the Americans will kind of just go, nah, don't really fancy that, I'm going to stay on with my thing. And that's fine, like, if it works for them still. But, I think it's worth changing or at least trying out new things.
Yep.
So I think in that respect, for variety, I think Europe and Asia are ahead because they try more stable builds, whereas a lot of American players, they're playing off one base at the moment. I'm not going to say every American's doing that, since there are quite a few good ones. But that seems to be the trend, or what I've heard at least.
Okay. Now I see you actually lost your Reaper that you used. I've heard Day 9 talk about this, and was that the famous delayed Reaper for scouting purposes, and you don't really care that you lost it, or what do you think?
I think I actually told Day 9 about that. At least I told Artosis about that. I said, like, right, against Protoss recently, they can make Void Rays. And as I said to you earlier, I thought he was going to Void Ray me. These are great positions for Void Rays or drops, whatever, because they're so close. But I didn't want to waste scan, because he's got a big base. If I scan one part, I might not even see what I want to see, so that'd be a waste.
Absolutely.
And the only logical way to see what he's doing is to send a Reaper in, so that's what I did. I saw what I needed to see, saw he's got 3 gates, and yeah, it did its job.
Awesome. Yeah, that is one thing I see a lot of newer players neglect, is just the usefulness of the Reaper, and just not only its harassment capability, but its scouting capability. So hopefully
it's an underused unit right now. Like, mainly people are doing it for cheese purposes or harassing, like, probe lines or whatever, or you know. But I think it will serve a pretty huge purpose later. Like, right now, say if I did keep that Reaper alive, unfortunately it died, but it did its job. It saw what it wanted to see. I could keep a Reaper now at the Zelnaga Watchtower, and that gives me a pretty huge view over what he's doing. That would be something to work on this game. But I didn't think of that at the time. Max said, I knew him from Warcraft 3. He was a human player like myself, and I never lost to the guy in Warcraft 3, so I was pretty confident going into this game too. So I played a bit lax, I guess, but I know he's a stubborn player. I know that once he's got his strategy down, he's not going to change from it no matter what I do. So I was pretty comfortable. I knew I could kind of chill out a bit. And just to you know, say this, he's not using Chrono Boost a lot at all. He was set at like 100 for a lot of this game.
Oh wow, yeah, his Chrono Boost is really high. You can be Chrono Boosting this extended thermal lance out a lot quicker, and maybe making a push, or doing something.
Right. A lot of things this game that he didn't do. I expoed pretty early, which, if he pushed correctly, he could have killed that so easily. But
of course.
I know he's a stubborn player, so I could get away with moves like that. Ugh. But I think that's why it's pretty good to understand how your opponent thinks before you actually play him. I can get away with silly little things like that, which, you know, if I was playing against a really, really good player, I knew I wouldn't be able to do. So that's worth mentioning. That my strategy this game, it isn't what I do against every Protoss. I just know that Maxed isn't going to take advantage of any position that he has, because I know he's just going to sit in his base, because I saw a VOD of him doing this.
And he's just getting his expansion up now, and yours is well underway if you look at the income tab. I mean,
right, and he's got 2 Colossus with Thermal Lance upgrade. I've got no Vikings, but he's got, like, he's made nothing from these 3 gates. No. So not only was he not using Chrono Boost, which he started doing now, but he's not really used these 3 gates at all.
And he was supply locked for a little bit too, so...
yeah, his play just doesn't make sense. Like, people could look on this game, and when the fight comes, you'll see that I kind of walk over him. Like, there's no actual fight, it's just me walking over his army. But a lot of people would say, like, oh, it's totally imbalanced, blah, blah, blah. But it's not. It's just he played bad upcoming, so I took advantage of that.
Oh, that's understandable. I mean, it's really easy to mix up imbalance with just bad play in general, so...
Right. And you can't look at bad players and when they lose and blame it on imbalance. I mean, it's just them doing something wrong.
Right.
That's all it is.
Just for the fact that he's got an observer unhindered in your base, and he's not able to counter what you're building, it just seems a little awkward at that point.
Right. I've got a dropship coming into his base right now. Given his army composition and where I thought he would be standing, this is pretty good. I mean, I can kill a lot here and not really lose much.
Well, it forced him to migrate all of his probes from the one base to the next, and then he just went and dropped over there. This stopped his production for darn near a minute at least, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And